Hey guys, real quick, before we get into this video today, we're going to be talking a lot about our goldfish and our goldfish tank. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to save some money at freshwaterscrub.com. 10% off, so just use the code GOLDFISH. You'll get 10% off all of your purchases, plants, merchandise, everything. Go pick you up some of the Christopher Scott angelfish merchandise or aquatic plants, whatever it may be. Goldfish for 10% off at freshwaterscrub.com. Let's get into this video today. Hey, what's going on everybody? Well, welcome back for another video. I had tons and tons of comments in my goldfish video of people telling me basically that I wasn't doing the goldfish tank correctly, that the driftwood was bad for them because they could scratch themselves. They told me that the plants were bad for them because they could choke on them, that some of the pebbles were too small because they could choke on them. And listen, if you know me and you've been around for a while, you know that I listen to you guys, and you know that in some situations, if you tell me something that I don't know, I'm gonna go research it, figure it out. And after doing that, I do realize that there are some things I could change about this tank. One of the things that I did read that I'm curious about your thoughts on is these Moor goldfish actually do not exist in nature. These are actually captive bred goldfish that have been bred from a specific type of Asian carp over generations and generations. And everything I read says that they've actually been bred to withstand different water parameters, including water that's a lot warmer than what you would expect to put a regular goldfish in. I don't know how much validity is in that, but it is, it looks like it's a pretty common thing across the industry, and that people agree with that sentiment. I don't know whether they need to be in a cold tank that's 50 degrees or if it's safe for them to be in a tank that's 75 degrees. There's so much misinformation out there about it, I'm not really sure. What I do know is that they're sitting in this tank currently in the fish room at about 74 degrees because they're sharing space with guppies and they seem to be doing just fine. There's no indication of stress, they're eating well, everything is good. So I'd like to know what you think about the temperature of the water for goldfish like this. Let me know what your thoughts are and let me know what your experience is down in the comments, because I am truly interested in knowing. You can read a lot of stuff on the internet, and now granted I go to trustworthy sources and they all seem to say the same thing, which is that they have been bred for different water conditions. So what is your experience on Moor goldfish? So what we're gonna do is go ahead and work on preparing these goldfish for a new environment in the fish room. And we're gonna go ahead and get into that now by cleaning out some of our plant grow out tanks in the fish room. All right, so the first thing we need to do is go ahead and start getting some of the water out of these tanks and down into a 5-gallon bucket, because we're gonna need a place to put the plants while we clean up the tank. And then we also need to kind of assess what plants are good and what's not, because I really haven't been maintaining the plants in these tanks just simply because I have so many plants growing in tubs and things like that I don't necessarily need these as plant grow out tanks anymore. So I've just kind of let them go and grow, and well, we got to get this cleaned up a little bit. So I'm just going to take this little hose here and I'm going to place this right here in this tank and start draining some of this water down into this 5-gallon bucket. And the biggest thing is just making sure that I don't suck any of these fish up in here. Now granted, if I do, it's not a big deal. I mean, we're just putting them in a bucket, so. Now what I don't want to do is take too much of this water, just simply because we need to go ahead and gravel vac this as well. All right, our next step here is to go ahead and get this duckweed out of these tanks. And what I use is just like a dinner fork. Now I could probably use a larger fork or a comb. Now this big old set of bacopa here, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. Look at the roots on that. We're gonna drop this in the 5-gallon bucket. Ah, look at this. This is fantastic. So what we have here is a huge Kleiner bar sword, and this Kleiner bar sword has actually started to propagate, and we have a couple of smaller Kleiner bars here on the end. A whole bunch more bacopa here, and it looks like maybe a stem, an old stem of some golden asea, but it's still growing. We got this Java fern, and this Java fern is propagating as well. If you notice here on the back of the leaves. So what you could see sometimes on Java ferns is you'll see on the back like pods, these little darker colored spots, and they kind of look like snail eggs a little bit, but what they are is they're actually seed pods, and this thing will actually clone itself and they grow in right here on the back like this. So these are all brand new Java ferns right here that I can pull off and they'll become their own plant. So this is a red tiger lotus bulb. that is growing really well. Sometimes these will naturally separate from the bulb, as you can see right here. If you were to break this off and leave that little tiny spot sticking out of this bulb will continue to grow a new plant. And what it looks like in here is we actually had one separate on its own. As you can see, it's a tiny one, but it has its own new little bulb on it. So this thing is completely propagated and grown a whole new bulb for us. So this bulb was growing in that guppy tank, and it's been in there for a long time. But look at the root system on this thing. And it's one of these curly bulbs. I cannot remember the name of it. I'll put it up on the screen, but this thing has grown fantastic in this tank. It hasn't gotten quite enough light because of all the duckweed on top, but we're definitely going to be taking this thing and putting this in a tank where it can get some light and completely grow out. All right, so now what I need to do is go ahead and get these guppies rounded up in here, which is gonna take a minute. So let's get that done now. All right, I think that I got all of them except for these two right here. So we'll have to come back for these guys. So let's get these guys over into their new tank. We got these guys over here and they're ready to go into their tank. But before we put them in, just simply because of the fact that there are fry in here as well, we need to go ahead and add some of these floating plants back in here. So we're gonna grab some of this frog bit right here. We'll get that frog bit back in there so these fry have somewhere to be without getting eaten. All right, so what's left in this tank now is just one female guppy. I'll get her out later on, and these three little panda more goldfish. So what we're gonna do is, in an upcoming videos, we're gonna break this tank down and we're actually gonna rescape it to be a little more goldfish friendly based on your recommendations in that video. So I wanna make sure that I give them the best life that I can, and from the feedback that I got, it looks like I don't wanna plant it and no driftwood. So I guess we're gonna do more like a solid like rock scape that is very minimalistic. We'll get that done in an upcoming video for Vlogmas. Real quick, I wanted to show you all the plants that were grown that you can pick up at freshwaterscrub.com, like this broadleaf Ludwigia. And in fact, if you use the code Goldfish, you'll get 10% off all of your orders. We have these Anubias nanas, which you can actually get in a pack with an Anubias fraseri for only $14. We also have this golden Nisea, which is an amazing plant. Look at these red stems and these bright green leaves. Some wisteria, the Anubias fraseri. But make sure you visit freshwaterscrub.com and use code Goldfish for 10% off. All right, guys. Well, we have one last guppy to catch, and she looks like she may be hungry, so I may be able to catch her. And no, I didn't. I still didn't catch her. So I don't know how I'm going to catch this little girl, but we'll get to her eventually. Let's see if I can get her to come up and eat. Maybe I can grab her that way. I know the goldfish want to eat. That's all they ever do is eat. It's just eat, eat, eat. They're like, hey, come here and let me eat. I'm hungry. And there they go. Look, they're eating the little bitty tropical pellets that I'm putting in for the guppy, and I can't get the guppy out. So, you know, as much as I hate to break this tank down because I really do like the scape, I could just take these goldfish out. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I actually do listen to your feedback, and I am truly grateful that you guys have pushed me into the right direction, and I wish it would have worked out for these guys. If I decide to just move them into a new tank, I'll let you know that as well, but we'll have to scape it, so we'll see. But stay tuned for that. Real quick before we go, I don't know how long you've been around on the channel and such, but these right here are these unicorn guppies that I actually bred here in the fish room. I was trying to get a specific color pattern out of them. You can see the colors on them are insane, and they look really, really good. So with that, guys, hopefully you went on to enjoy this video. I know it wasn't a whole lot. It was just really moving fish around and cleaning out these tanks, but I am grateful if you came by and stopped to watch it. If you are in need of any plants that you saw in this video today, make sure you visit freshwaterscrub.com and pick you up some aquatic plants. We have everything from jungle val to Radican swords, Java fern, Christmas moss, frogbit, duckweed, all kinds of things. And you know what? Hey, we're truly grateful for all the support you guys give the channel. Thank you so very much. And we will see you very, very soon in our next Vlogmas episode. So we'll see you next time.